Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's Sickle Cell Sunday, I'm going to discuss why I didn't have a Sickle Cell Sunday up last week, which was due to my body basically rejecting my corneal transplant that I had gotten back in 2011. I'm very sorry I couldn't have a video up last Sunday for my Sickle Cell Sunday, but it's been a crazy weekend. I was going to film, but it was getting very late and I was very under the weather. I was feeling very sick and unfortunately I just couldn't find the energy to film and find the health to film for you guys. I'm barely feeling a little bit better, but I'm still feeling very sick, and along with the sickle cell, I'm just physically and mentally I'm drained right now. As you can see, I don't have much makeup on. I just have a lip color and eyebrows. At least the eyebrows can frame my face a little bit and the lip color can bring a little bit of life back into my face. But other than that, I didn't want to scare you guys with a no makeup look, which this pretty much is no makeup. But I didn't want to scare you guys in thinking that I was a zombie or something. But let's get to the point. And like I mentioned, I did have 2 corneal transplants. I had one in both eyes. So like I was saying, I got my corneal transplant back in 2011, maybe towards the end of 2010. The reason I had gotten the corneal transplant was because I had keratoconus, which is an eye disease which causes the cornea to become deformed and the cornea becomes the shape of a football instead of being nice and round like a basketball. So, you know, it's kind of round like that, you know, and then my cornea was pointing out like this, like a football shape. I know that's not the best representation of how it looked, but I'm just giving an example. But on Friday, like I said, I had a pre-op appointment for my core decompression, and I woke up having pain in the eye, and it was very teary and it was very sensitive to the light. I'm surprised I can sit here today in front of the 2 softbox lights and a chandelier, and then there's some lights over there and some lights behind me, because if this was last Friday, I wouldn't have been able to tolerate this much light in my eye. But with that being said, I went to my pre-op appointment and I noticed that it was very hard for me to keep my eye opened. I was squinting. The light was bothering me really bad and it felt very scratchy as well. So my mentality was, you know, thinking that it was a basic broken stitch, which when you have a corneal transplant, stitches break all the time and then they're left in there until you go to your doctor's appointment and they'll remove them. So my logic was, oh, this is a pretty bad stitch that's broken. So typically in the past, if I get stitches, you know, closer to the top or towards the bottom of the cornea, those really hurt really bad. So that's why I was thinking it's just a basic stitch, you know. And so I decided to go home right after my pre-op, and since I had woken up so early, I was just so tired from my first week at school, and I was like, maybe I'm just overthinking and, you know, my eyes are super tired. So I started thinking that it's a stitch, my eyes are tired, and, you know, thinking that's the issue, that I needed to go get some rest. So I went home, took a nap. I slept for a couple of hours because I was drained from the previous day at school. I had like a 18-hour day almost. So it was a rough day for me and my body gets super tired. And when I woke up, it just had gotten worse. It was super red. The white part was super red. The veins looked red. It was just a weird look. I had a red eye. The weird thing was I inspected the eye and I did not see any stitches really sticking out. And I really couldn't open my eye, so I was like walking around like this, like, you know, trying to block out the light, and it was difficult. And I had asked my brother if he could check my eye for me and see if he saw a stitch maybe that I was missing and couldn't see. And so he saw this, he said it looked like a stitch, so I'm like, okay, good. So it's probably just a basic stitch, because sometimes I get worried that it could be something else other than a stitch. I'd rather it be a stitch than a rejection or something super drastic. So a stitch can be removed, and a rejection is something worse than that, you know? I kind of walked around for like an hour trying to figure out what was going on, and then all of a sudden I could not tolerate the light. I had to go in my room, shut all the lights off, shut the blinds, and I was literally sitting in a dark room because the light was just so excruciatingly painful. So I was trying to look at my phone and I couldn't look at the phone because of the light. It was again bothering me. And you know, I was trying to text a couple of people, or you know, look at my Snapchat, watch some videos, since I was already kind of relaxing on my bed. But I had to dim the iPhone light all the way down, and still that little bit of light was still bugging my eye. And then fast forward a couple of minutes, I told my mom, hey, can you check my eye and see what's going on? I feel horrible. And this was around maybe 4:50, and the doctors leave around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So she looked at the eye and she started seeing this cloud over the bottom area of my cornea, and she got super freaked out. So that made me freak out because we started thinking that this wasn't normal. So she had seen this like cloud, and it almost looked like a line across the cornea, and she started thinking that I injured my cornea, but I didn't do, I mean, I was at school, how could I have injured my cornea? Like, I'm a very safe and calm person, so you know, there was no way that I had injured my cornea, so that was kind of ruled out. And I was like, I'm just gonna Google the symptoms of a corneal rejection, because we need to be aware of what's going on, because this can't be a simple stitch. So as soon as I looked up the symptoms of a corneal rejection, every symptom that I had seen was spot on with what was happening. Loss of vision, light sensitivity, it was red, and the most important, pain. So as soon as I saw those symptoms, that's when we decided we need to call a doctor or something. We need to move on this a little quicker, because we need to save time and figure out a solution for this. So we had tried to call the doctor. Unfortunately, they didn't answer. They leave around 5, 6 o'clock. They weren't going to answer, especially being a Friday. They want to go probably party. And we emailed the doctor, no response. And then we found a phone number to an advice nurse hotline, where there's a live nurse and you tell them your symptoms and then they recommend what you should do. So they called us, but the call didn't go through. So then we had to wait hours before we called again, and it was just a mess. The nurse didn't end up calling until like 11 at night, and she had written all my symptoms down, and she really didn't want to say what was going on because, you know, she's a nurse and can't diagnose anything. But she called the on-call ophthalmologist, and he told me that he wanted to see me all the way up in Santa Ana, which is pretty far from where I live. It's about an hour and 45 minutes, close to 2 hours with traffic. And so my parents took me up there, and he basically said that my eye was getting a corneal rejection, which is kind of common sometimes. And then he had saw that a suture broke, which is a stitch, and I believe that was causing an infection. I don't understand how this happened so quickly, but there was like a suture, I guess, that broke, and then I guess the stitch essentially kind of freaked out the cornea. So the cornea was like, I'm gonna reject myself, you know. It's just so weird because he wasn't my doctor, and each doctor kind of had a different perspective, but he put me on eye drops every 30 minutes for the first 4 hours. So he put me on an eye drop called Zymaxid, and Zymaxid is a strong antibiotic, and that's going to kill any of the bacteria that, you know, was going on in the eye. I had to go back again on Sunday. So I traveled Saturday, and then I traveled Sunday up to Santa Ana, and then on Monday I had to go up to Mission Viejo, which is in the Orange County area. So those 3 days were long drives. I'm so thankful my parents were able to drive me up there, because especially with the loss of vision, I really couldn't have driven myself up there. I had a white cloud over the eye, so I really could not see anything clear. It looked foggy. Imagine if you turn on a hot shower and you see all of that steam in the bathroom and really can't see clearly. So that's what it looked like for me. So on Monday I went and I saw my actual ophthalmologist. Before I just saw an on-call doctor, but Monday I saw my real ophthalmologist, the one who had operated on me and did the transplant himself. He said it still looked a little uncertain, and he says that it started clearing up a little tiny bit, but I still needed to be preventative and keep doing the eye drops every hour up until Thursday. He wanted me to come back on Thursday, and then so I went Thursday right after class, so around 5:30. And then, so when I went back on Thursday, the white cloud that I had on my eye had almost completely disappeared. I actually think today it completely disappeared. I might have had a little bit yesterday, and today it looks like it's pretty much gone. So I'm so happy that that cloud disappeared, because it was very concerning that I couldn't see. It was literally obstructing my vision. So when I went on Thursday, he inspected it, everything looked okay, but he still wants me to be on the eye drops, but now he increased it to 4 times a day, and then I have to take another one called prednisolone, which is like a steroid, I believe, so I have to do that. But he decided to check the other eye, and so all of this happened on my left eye. So he decided to check out the right eye and see how the right eye was doing, and he saw a little stitch hanging out there and decided to remove the stitch. He was having a difficult time getting the stitch out, so I needed to go into the procedure room where they have a big microscope, and he can put numbing gel and numbing eye drops to numb the eye so I don't feel anything, and then they'll put you under that microscope and try to go in and pull the stitch that needs to be removed. So all of a sudden he looks at me and tells me, "We're gonna remove all the stitches in your eye." And I'm sitting there thinking, are you serious? Are you playing a joke on me? Like, what? You know, like I was caught off guard, because I want to focus on one eye, and you know, I want to heal one eye and give it the time it needs. And by taking stitches out, your vision fluctuates, and you'll get kind of a bad vision until it heals, because the cornea is like adjusting. So when you take something out, it's gonna, you know, attach to the skin around it, if that kind of makes sense. But I was like, okay, if you think that's beneficial, well, let's remove the stitches. So I mean, it's been a rough week dealing with my eyes. So he removed about 6 to 8 stitches that were in there, and I don't see any remaining stitches, but now both of them are bothering me. So the eye that he took the stitch out feels very scratchy and irritated, and he said that's gonna happen. I'm gonna need to get some new glasses in the next couple of weeks quickly so I can actually see. But that is basically how this week went. I really wanted to have this video up for you guys so I don't have to miss a second Sickle Cell Sunday. But I'm very sorry I didn't have a video up for you guys last week, but this just was the longest week ever and the most stressful week. I also wanted to come on here and have this video up before my birthday. My birthday is Monday, February 8th. So anyways guys, that was my little story, chit chat, what happened to me last week and why I went missing for my Sickle Cell Sunday due to the fact of my corneal rejection. It doesn't appear that it is rejecting anymore, but I have to go again on Monday and get a checkup and make sure everything is running smoothly. They're keeping an eye on it, so it could reject, you know, anytime. So we are monitoring the eye to make sure it doesn't reject any further. I do notice my eye is a lot clearer and it is improving, so I'm hoping that it's not going to reject anymore and that it'll start healing in its own way. So anyways guys, I hope you learned something or learned about my experience with my corneal transplant. If you have any questions or any comments you want to leave me, please leave them down below in the comment section and I can go ahead and answer any of those comments or questions. If you want to know any more on my corneal transplant story, please let me know. I can do a maybe more in-depth video on what keratoconus is or what exactly the corneal transplant will do if any of you are confused. Like I said, leave me a comment if you have any specific questions you want to know, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and also please remember to check my Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. I'll leave them linked down below in the description box. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!